Hello again, friends. Ryan Turford here, and welcome to another Video Games Monthly unboxing. Now, before I get into this, of course, this is for September 2020. In case you don't know what Video Games Monthly is, it is a monthly subscription service for retro video games, where basically you can tell them the consoles you want to collect for, basically going all the way back to the Atari 2600 and all the way up to modern day consoles like the PS3 and 360. I think it's like the newest generation. They have like Wii U and 3DS, I think, that were added not too long ago. And you can tell them how many games you want to collect, and there's varying prices depending on how many games you want, whether it's 3, 4, 5, or 10 games. I get the 5-game subscription box. And last but not least, obviously, you can send them a wish list as well as tell them what games you already own, so you don't actually receive any duplicates. It's a pretty awesome service. Again, I've been going for a while now for Video Games Monthly. It's almost been 2 years, but it's kind of been on or off depending on my personal situation. But I'm kind of all in with them now because I love, especially now that it's hard to go outside to go to stores. I'm not going to my local retro store enough to justify buying a lot of stuff from them. I'm still supporting them, but I love that there's a service like this out here that gets me retro games every single month, that curates a box and everything like that. So huge shout out to Video Games Monthly for being awesome. Also, another shout out before I want to get into this, but to Video Games Monthly specifically, is that as you all noticed, I mentioned in the last unboxing video in August that my July box kind of got lost in the mail. USPS lost the package, but they managed to find it, and it's actually on its way here. And so huge shout out to Video Games Monthly for contacting USPS, getting all of it sorted out. Their customer service is amazing. In case, like, anything I've ever had to deal with, any problems I've run into with any games or any issues that I've had with my box, Video Games Monthly is like super quick. Like, whenever you email them, you get a response super quickly. So again, they've been super awesome throughout this whole process, and I want to thank them again for doing that. But enough about that. Let's jump into the box. Of course, you notice that there's chapters along the video as well, so you can just skip along if you'd like to as well, because I like to yammer a lot because I'm an old man. That's what I like to do. So let's see what's in our 5-game box, and I'm going to try and open this as blindly as possible. So the consoles I actually subscribe to are NES, Game Boy, and Super Nintendo. I just don't really like getting disc-based games the disc only. So that's the main reason why I don't do any of my original Xbox or Wii or GameCube or anything like that. So let's go through the paperwork real quick. We got the typical business card that basically says, hey, you can share a post of the games you received to possibly win 3 free games in your next box on their Facebook page. Next up, they usually throw in a trinket of some kind of Video Games Monthly branded merchandise. In this case, it looks like a cleaning cloth for like your touchscreen or your glasses or something like that. I'm not going to pull this out of the package, but I definitely will use this for something like my Nintendo Switch or my MacBook Pro, other devices like that. Pretty cool get, actually. This is the first time I've seen them do a Video Games Monthly cloth like this, and I think that's actually a pretty sweet idea, especially with us getting so many disc-based games. Next up, obviously a card reminding you to update your library every month, or else they'll send you duplicates because that's a thing. And last but not least, looks like we got a 1-up, so there'll actually be 6 games in this box, and this just means we didn't get Tony's box because Tony never gets 1-ups. That's just how all this works. So let's do the feel around. We're going to start with, I think there's only one Game Boy game, unless there's one hiding under all these. So let's start with the Game Boy game I feel on top. Is it a good one? It's K's, apparently. That's what it says on the back. Oh, yes! This is a Game Boy cartridge that I used to have as a kid. I mean, everyone knows from listening to me on other podcasts and things, I'm a huge fan of Metroid, and this is a game I had growing up. This was actually my very first Metroid game. Of course, we're talking about Metroid 2 Return of Samus. I actually love this game more than a lot of other people do. The problem with Metroid 2 is that you get lost very easily because the entire game is in black and white and all of the sectors kind of look the same. It's a little bit harder to tell where you're going, and there's no map. So unless you draw one out yourself, it becomes a little bit easy to get lost. And it had a great remake on the 3DS with Metroid Samus Returns, which was an amazing game that I know a lot of people just overlooked because it came out on the 3DS while the Switch was just coming out, and a lot of people didn't want to pull out their 3DSs to play Metroid Samus Returns, which I think is, again, an amazing remake of this game. But the Game Boy cartridge is one that was on my wish list. It's one I've wanted forever, and I've never pulled the trigger on it because it's always super expensive in my area. So I'm so glad that Video Games Monthly sent this because now I don't have to track it down. So Metroid Samus Returns, or Return of Samus. I'm so happy to have this, and I'm so happy right now, you guys. So let's jump into some of the cartridges now, bigger cartridges. I think a lot of them are NES, so that's pretty awesome. So let's start with this first one. This one was apparently $5.99 according to the back here. We got Ghostbusters! And yes, if you know the intro to this game, it has a voice sample that's like, Ghostbusters! And it says it in a really dumb voice. And for those that didn't believe me, $5.99 apparently according to the price tag on the back. This is a game I've never played. The Ghostbusters movie is actually a really fun movie. I love that movie. So I put this on my wish list too, because honestly, this is a game I've always wanted to try out, but this is one of those things where I'm in my local game store. I'm not always looking to pick up a copy of Ghostbusters off the shelf. I'm usually looking for, more like I'm not always thinking about, hey, maybe this is the time to finally jump into Ghostbusters NES. But I've never checked this out, but I've always wanted to. I've heard it's really terrible. But that's part of the charm. That's why, and plus it's Ghostbusters. Come on, you got to play a game if it's Ghostbusters. Even if you have your Ghostbusters mobile runs out of gas, and then you have to earn a whole bunch of money to buy that and your gadgets and stuff. I'm excited to play that though. That's very exciting. So thank you again, Video Game Something. That is awesome. Next up, we got a Super Nintendo game. We got a torn label in the back, but we got Killer Instinct. Because yes, it's all about epic voices today. That's the theme. That's the theme so far with the games is epic voices, except for Metroid. There's no epic voices in that game. So Killer Instinct, really fun fighting game. I played it more on N64, and it was really sweet in the arcade. In fact, I don't think I've ever played the Super Nintendo version of Killer Instinct, but I know it's a super fun fighting game because I played it a lot on N64 with my friends, and I'm actually pretty happy to have this. This is pretty cool. Again, the back label is torn a bit, but that's not a deal breaker for me. It's one of those things where as long as the front label's in good condition and as long as it works, I mean, for the most part, that's kind of what I'm looking for. Plus, there's no writing on it. I mean, it's a black label, but I always prefer when I don't have to get the cleaning supplies out to clean it off. But Killer Instinct, pretty awesome get, and I'm excited to try that out. So next up, I think we just got 2 NES games left. So next up, we have Tiny Toon Adventures. And oh my God, this brings me back. We've got this Metroid sticker on here, this MVP sticker. Funny enough, I have this on one of the NES desk protectors on one of my games up there, and it has my name on it from when I was a kid. But Tiny Toon Adventures, though, I put this on my wish list too. In fact, I guess that's the theme this month too. It's pretty much all wish list games, I guess, this month. This was a game that I've heard a lot of really good things about on NES, and I've really wanted to try out for a long time. And I'm really glad to have this one. I mean, Konami, back in their heyday when they were doing amazing games like Metal Gear and a bunch of others. And I'm so happy to have this as part of the collection. Again, it's like Ghostbusters. It's the type of game where I've always wanted to pick it up. I've heard really good things about this game, but I've just never thought to myself, I should pick up Tiny Toon Adventures while I'm down here at my local game store. So I'm so happy to have this. I'm so ready to try this out because I'm pretty hyped to try that out. And next game, again, I think it's the last game, which is odd because we do get the 5-game box and it said we got a 1-up, but that's okay. I mean, that wouldn't be the first time that's happened before. And sometimes too, where we didn't get the 1-up card, it had 6 games in it too. So it kind of goes both ways. So last game, NES game, we got Bump and Jump from Vic Tokai. I have no idea what this is. I mean, I got some kids and they're in like a go-kart and they're racing other go-karts. The box art is really kind of goofy on this. I honestly have no idea what this game is at all. I'm guessing it's some kind of racing game. I'm guessing, if I was to guess, it's probably some kind of top-down racing game, like arcade racing game, probably like, I don't know, like Super Off-Road or something like that. But I'm really interested to try this out because I literally know nothing about this, and that's part of the charm of this service. I love getting games that I literally know nothing about and learning about games at the same time. So even though I kind of knew mostly what all the games were ahead of time here, it's awesome to get at least one game here that I just knew nothing about. So there you go. I think that's everything. Let's just double check in the box, and yep, that's everything. Empty box. Just throw it down there. So what do you think about this month's Video Games Monthly haul? All in all, I think this was an awesome month for Video Games Monthly. Even if some of these titles aren't the most expensive titles, honestly, they're all games I really want to play. Even the one Bump and Jump that I've never heard of before. I'm really interested to try that out. So what do you think about this unboxing? Again, leave your comments down below. If you like this video and like what we do over here at Ryan Turford Games, of course, like and subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. It really helps the channel grow in an awesome way. And yeah, I guess I will see you probably later this month for my July box, unless Canada Post takes forever to get here, and then you'll see me in October. Until then, play on, everybody. Have a good night.